Back to our Senate candidates. We have 3 questions, 90 seconds to answer, and I think this time we'll start with Mr. Magendas. What do you believe is the single most important issue facing the 5th District right now, and how would you address it?
Cost of living, in one phrase. Cost of living has been becoming a huge issue for all of King County, but particularly in the areas where we don't have higher salaries and revenues to balance this. Let's just take a look at, since I left the legislature, state budgets have more than doubled. Not many of us can look back and say that our salaries have doubled over the last 8 years. There hasn't been much fiscal discipline down in Olympia, and that's because the checks and balances are no longer there. Basically, we're relying on the initiative system for our checks and balances to policies down in Olympia, and that's got to change. When we were working together in a more balanced form, we had to find common ground. It took longer. I mean, my opponent served 1 legislative session. I served 4 and 6 special sessions, because when we had a bipartisan legislature, we had to work together to find that common ground. But we were passing our budgets with over 90% support. We were ending up with a much better work product when we were working together. And that's the kind of balance I'm trying to achieve down there. And I built a reputation for building coalitions and working effectively across the aisle. That's been called out regularly in my Seattle Times endorsements. And we got stuff done. Now it feels that half the state is completely disenfranchised, and that there's cuts only in the areas that really hurt. And we see cost of living issues showing up on the gas pump. We see it in the grocery store, and we see it trickling down in inflation with the highest CPA of any metro area.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, would you like the question repeated, or can you zero in on the most important issue facing the 5th District right now?
The most important issue, and one that I hear from community members all across the district, is cost of living. And I want to address this remark that was just made about the doubling of the budget. That's misleading. That has been over a decade, and it has been many contributing factors, including inflation, including economy growth and population growth. And we are providing services that people need. I want to offer some solutions for this cost of living question. One thing that I hear from folks is around the cost of housing. We do know we need to make sure we're cutting the red tape and we're able to make sure that folks have options. Seniors want to be able to downsize and live in their communities. We want to make sure that students, folks can continue to live in their community, and that they can find a place that they can afford. And this is a huge issue. We are able to cut some of that red tape. We are able to invest in making sure that our communities have housing and have options. So this is something that I want to continue to work on. I was talking the other day with a police officer, and his daughter, who is also an officer, was telling me about the challenges around affordable housing. Affordable childcare. Because when you're working in some of these jobs where you have unusual hours, unpredictable schedules, these are things where we absolutely need to make sure that we have childcare options. And this is also something that I will strongly, as a working mom, fight for. Make sure that we have options in all of our communities for affordability.
So my second question, Mr. Magendas, if you don't mind, Maple Valley and Black Diamond are among the fastest growing areas in King County. How would you balance the need for development with the preservation of community character and environmental sustainability?
So I believe that we can have managed growth, and that should be something we embrace, but we have to have the infrastructure to support that growth. Black Diamond is a classic example of where that infrastructure investment was not made. We do not have the roads to get people to school or get people to work from here, given the extreme growth that we've seen with the 10 Trails development. And so, who has the burden for that growth? Well, it should be the developers who are actually profiting from the development. And we can do things like have impact fees. That's one way to get about it. But I think we have to get a lot of that up front from the developer. And we've been, stringing this along for an awful long time. And the state is partially at fault too. Like let's take a look at the way we set up our Growth Management Act. We have urban growth islands right now. Black Diamond is an island that has arterials that serve it, and yet those arterials have not been grown to reflect the growth within here in Black Diamond. And the state should be on the hook to do that. We should not approve any new developments unless there's a commitment to the infrastructure investment to make it feasible to build in that location. You know, a great example of a location right now, the Old Oak Point development, that's Lake Point, right on 18. That's stalled because of a lot of the hurdles we've thrown in front of that development. But that's well positioned for transportation to get to work and to get to schools. And yet they haven't been able to jump over all the hurdles that get placed on it again and again. So we can encourage growth with balanced investment in infrastructure.
Thank you, and just a follow-up to that question, Ms. Hunt, what role should the state play in supporting infrastructure improvements for a rapidly growing community like ours?
Thank you. As a city council member, I served 3 terms, and absolutely our cities are growing so fast in this region, and really we need to make sure that we are partnering with our cities to ensure that we have the infrastructure investments that we need. When the bomb cyclone ripped through this area last November, there was a huge amount of damage to our infrastructure. And we tried twice as a state to go to FEMA for funds to recover from that event, and we were twice denied. But working in coalition with my delegation in Olympia, we were able to secure funds to repair some of that infrastructure and to help make some of our businesses whole. And that is really the role of the state, partnering with our cities, making sure that we have these investments, fighting for our fair share of investments to the district. Environmental protection is also extremely important. We know that we have farmlands and we have beautiful wildlands and forests in our area, and protecting those is also one of the reasons why I know so many of us have moved here, chose to raise our families here and stay here. And so protecting our environment is also clean air, clean water, very important to me.
Thank you, Chad. Let's see what your idea is, please.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, certainly. So what role should the state play in supporting infrastructure improvements for rapidly growing communities like ours?
Okay, so as I mentioned before, we have the urban growth islands, okay? The state should be investing in infrastructure for the arterials to those islands so they can connect with the big, the business centers, you know, in this case, Bellevue and Seattle and things like that. And so I actually ran a bill that would actually brought 4 lanes down from Maple Valley Highway, from where it ends at Cedar Grove, all the way down to Black Diamond, because I think that's what you need. You need 4 lanes all the way through. Roundabouts, frankly, not going to cut it, right? We need to get more flow through these arterials, and they're just getting backed off time and again. Another example of that is I would invest in Highway 18. So for example, this last session, the number 1 and number 3 projects that were cut from the transportation budget, both related to SR 18, and totaled around $49.5 million, about a 65% cut. We've been trying to finish the widening project in 18 since 91 when I first moved out here. And it's just crazy. We stopped at Issaquah Hobart and we just have not been able to break through that. And the predecessor, the incumbent for this, was Mark Mullet. He worked hard to make sure that project got approved, got funding. And then in this last session, despite having $3.2 billion in new taxes, 6 cents per gallon on the gas pump, we still had that project cut and pushed out to the 2030s. We need to invest, and we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure to serve what is frankly a big safety concern right now in SR 18.
Indeed. Well, our third question is, and we'll start with you, Ms. Hunt, is Black Diamond's economic future depends heavily on a vibrant small business sector, from local storefronts to service providers. With ongoing pressures like rising minimum wages, increased taxes, and complex state regulations, what specific ideas do you have to help cities like ours retain and attract small businesses?
Small businesses are the heart of the community. This is so important for our economy. They give back, they invest in our schools, they invest in our local sports teams. It has been a huge honor to hear directly from the small businesses and make sure that I am bringing those concerns and fighting for what they need as the state senator. And one of the things that I hear is the importance of public safety. I was one of the champions for making sure that we have more tools in the toolbox for our local police departments this last legislative session, so that they can hire more officers, more grants for more officers, and more funds as well for support staff, for co-response programs that we know our local police departments really need. So I will continue to fight for that. We also know that our small businesses, often they are having trouble finding people that can work in those businesses. So again, affordable housing, making sure that we have options for folks, and making sure that we have a strong transportation system. I would like to also, on transportation, make a correction to the record. We have millions of dollars in the budget for Highway 18. I fought hard to make sure that we have the next phase in the budget, and I've been hearing about this for weeks from my opponent. It is an extremely high priority, and I'm very honored to have the sole endorsement of Eastside Fire and Rescue, the Snoqualmie Tribe, and the Fraternal Order of Police. It is a huge priority for them, and I have those endorsements. Thank you.
Well, we certainly appreciate your participation here tonight. Tonight we're going to move to our council candidates. And question number one, we have 4 questions for our council members. And number 1 question, I think we'll address this first to Mr. Sorcy. All right, explain your ability to attend council meetings in person and your availability to the public. What is your typical work schedule, and are there any commitments that might regularly conflict with your council duties?
So, very interesting question.
Yeah.
So, some of you know here, since I've been semi-retired, I've traveled a lot, and people say I'm not in town. But fortunately, with the internet, I've been able to keep in touch and see what's going on. I do business around the world, and I'm able to communicate with everyone constantly. So having a present continuously within the city of Black Diamond is good, but it's not 100% required to do your job now that we have means of communication that allows us to be anywhere in the world, attend council meetings, participate with staff, and do the things necessary that council members should do. What was the rest of your?
No, I think you answered it completely. We were just talking about things that might regularly conflict with your council duties. Feels like you answered it. Why don't we go next to Mr. Del Santos? And if you need me to recite the question, would that be helpful?
No, I'm good.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
As I said, I live in Black Diamond. I live with Mike is on and up. I live in Black Diamond. I have all my life. I live about 3 minutes away from City Hall. I'm retired as of 4 years ago from the city of Black Diamond. I attend basically all the city council meetings now, so I have no problem meeting or attending them.
Great. That's a great answer. Ms. Mulvihill, how would you address that question?
Well, since I already attend all my committee meetings and all my council meetings, I don't think that's a problem. Thank you, Pam.
No big trips planned, huh?
No big trips.
All right. Thank you all for your responses. Second question for council people. The executive and legislative branches play 2 separate roles in city government. What is your understanding of your role as a city council member? And this question will go first to Ms. Mulvihill.
Repeat that, please.
Yeah. The executive and legislative branches play 2 separate roles in city government. What is your understanding of your role as a city council person?
As a city council person, I'm a legislative person. I don't set policy, but I confirm the policy that is handed down. As a city council person, we want to listen to our constituents and what they have to say and how we can make our community better. And then I've often talked to the mayor about different ideas that I've heard and different things that, perhaps we could change and make better. And brought that, back to the council through either the committee process or through my role as city council member.
Thank you. Mr. Del Santos, do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, certainly. The executive and legislative branches play two separate roles in city government. What is your understanding of your role as a city council member?
Well, as a role for the city council, I believe that you address people's issues and uphold the municipal code as it is written. I do believe that you listen to people and try to get the best information you can on their requests, and if it goes to the mayor and you have to discuss it, fine. But I still think you're responsible for the citizens of Black Diamond and their issues.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Sorcy?
So, from what I see, since I was chair of the finance committee for 18 years for the city, it's critically important that the council understand all of the budgeting process and the actual finances of the city. The council is responsible for approving budgets, but if you don't understand how the budget got there, if you don't understand the expenses, you can't see how you're gonna get through the future. It's absolutely critical that as a council member, you don't step on the toes of the administration, but you start to do things, you say, what can I do to help bring businesses to the community? What can I do to help generate the revenue that is necessary to do it? So there's two separate paths. We have to work together, but most importantly, we really need to understand the finances of the city to make sure we can be viable today, tomorrow, and well into the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your response. Third question, and we'll address this to Lee first. How familiar are you with the development agreement?
Well, that goes way back. I was on the council originally, first I was on the planning commission for 3 years, and then served on the council that created the master plan development agreement. And because of our give and take and our negotiations with the developer, I was then unelected. It wasn't a very popular choice. A lot of people didn't like to see our gracious, beautiful little town all of a sudden become part of suburbia. But in order to remain a viable community, we had to encourage development to come to Black Diamond, to bring the businesses, to support our residents, or we'd just become annexed into another community a little bit north of us. So yes, and the master plan development has been followed. All the agreements as they've come to us, matter of fact, the infrastructure that you see out here today, the roundabouts were actually completed a few months early than anticipated. So the progress is being made. It may seem slow, but this is a multi-year project, and Black Diamond will become even more vibrant than it already is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Del Santos, how familiar are you with the development agreements?
Well, working for the city for 26 years, I attended a lot of the public hearing meetings on this project. And putting my hat in the ring for Council Presentation number 6, I read the Master Plan Development Agreement just within the last couple months. So I'm very familiar with it. A lot of it has to do, if you read the Master Plan Development, has to do with timelines, and when conditions or units are approved, that's when things click for improvements. So a lot of people, it's very complicated because then they go to appendixes and but I have read it within the last 2 months. So saying I understand all of it, not at all, but I have read it. So.
I understand for sure. Mr. Sorcy, how familiar are you with the development agreement currently in place?
So I haven't read the development agreement completely in a long time, but I have read it. You know, and I'm familiar with some excerpts that come out of it. You know, shall we say I selectively choose what's in there so I can use it. I think it's a massive document. When I was on the committee, on the council, I was part of the group that led the annexation of the west area that is now 10 trails. So I knew that we had to grow, so I'm not opposed to growth. But controlled growth, that is what we need as a community. We can't grow so fast that the infrastructure can't keep up. When I was in Australia, the last trip, I looked at a development that's about 50% larger than 10 trails. They made them put in all the infrastructure and all the arterials before they even started building. And they put in all the area where all the industrial were gonna go, in light industrial and commercial. So they did it differently than what we've done, which is a good thing to do. When you travel, you get to see how other people do things. Thank you.
All right, your fourth and last question, Ms. Mulvihill, what is your understanding of your role in the budgeting process?
Well, the finance department, our director, brings us a budget, and we go through it piece by piece. Matter of fact, we've probably had about a work study every week for the past month and a half to go over the different fine tunings, what different things cost, what's important, where can we cut, where do we need to add. So it's a process that I'm extremely familiar with. I served on the finance committee. I've approved many budgets in my tenure, read many budgets in my tenure. That doesn't mean it's something I can easily pick up and explain. It's such a complicated, process. But been there, and I'm proud to serve doing my duty.
Well, appreciate that. Mr. Del Santos, what is your understanding of your role in the budgeting process?
My understanding, well, I had a lot of input in the budget because I was department head for 7 departments. So we would go into it with the council and had to go line item for line item, why we wanted to spend this money, why it was required. Some of the problems we had at the beginning, which I see that went away, is that we never had any equipment fund. So one year when we had money, we could get what we wanted. If there was no money, you'd go for years without even buying a piece of equipment. We figured that was wrong. So what we started to do was put a utility on every utility, put so much money every year, so you had a consistent income and the employees could pick out the piece of equipment they wanted. I noticed it completely went away this year. They put like $100,000 out of the sewer fund for the equipment fund this year, and next year is zero. That's not how you run a budget. That's not how you make things. Now you have to look at in the future and try to be stable and make sense of the budget.
Thank you.
Mr. Sorcy, what is your understanding of your role in the budgeting process as a council person?
So having done it for 18 years, it's absolutely critical as a council member that you sit down with the people that are working within the administration and understand what they're doing, where they're spending their money, what they're doing. It's the job of the council to approve the budget, but it's also the job of the council to understand where all of the revenue is coming from, where the shortfalls are, and obviously, where do we want to spend the money? If you start the process early and not just wait until budgeting time, and you've worked with them for 12 months, nothing is a shock, because then you know where you're at. The key is spending the time. I used to spend many hours on top of my 60-hour-a-week work week just understanding city budgets.
Well, thank you so much. That concludes our questions at this point in time for our council people. Next, we're going to move to the mayor's race. So we have a different set of questions, and we'll start, if that's all right. How about with Mr. Bowie? The city has valuable directors and senior staff with institutional knowledge. If elected mayor, what is your vision for your first year in office in terms of management style, staffing, and budget management?
Thank you. Good question. Can you hear me? New to the city is a position that we haven't had for quite some time. That's a city manager, Kevin O'Neill. I've met him, I've spoke with him. I know he came from Woodinville as an assistant city administrator. I think a lot of what the mayor used to do, interacting with staff and departments, probably should be and taken over by that person. I think the mayor needs to understand the staff and the departments. We need to staff up the departments. We don't have a community development director. We need to get City Hall some help. And we can't keep asking one or two people to do 2 or 3 different jobs.
Thank you.
It takes from what they're doing. Thank you.
Oh, just to follow up before you put your mic down, on that question, please explain the key message of your campaign and what you hope to accomplish if elected.
So the key message of my campaign is probably twofold. It's probably growth is our biggest issue right now, and reform City Hall. And reform City Hall is probably some simple things. Promote and respect public participation. We need to open the council committee meetings to the public that they're not in the past. We need to have complete staff and legal information to the council and to the public without delay.
Thank
Those
you.
things used to come a week before a council meeting.
Thank you.
We can get back to that. Thank
Yep.
you. I think your clock's wrong.
Is it on extra fast?
It seems to be going fast.
All right, Mr. Adler, you're up next. The city has valuable directors and senior staff with institutional knowledge. If elected mayor, what is your vision for your first year in office in terms of management style, staffing, and budget management?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think you probably hit on the key thing is we do have a lot of directors with a lot of experience. And, you know, to me, people are everything. You know, some people might say that I'm going to rely too much on city staff, but let's be honest, they do this all day, every day. This is their livelihood. So for me, really, as I'm coming into the office, one of the first things that I want to do is get to know and have a better understanding of all the individual people that are on staff for the city, what they do for the city, what some of their challenges are, their pain points, things that we can do as an administration to maybe make their job easier. You know, people are everything. I always use the analogy of when you're managing people, you're playing chess. And anybody that's ever played chess, if you don't know how the pieces are able to move, it's pretty difficult to play chess. So if you don't know the strengths and the weaknesses of your team members, you're going to have a difficult time with that. And that's one of the key things that I want to get to know.
And the follow-up question is, please explain the key message of your campaign and what you hope to accomplish if elected.
Yeah, sorry. No secret, bring Black Diamond together. You know, I've talked with hundreds of residents all across neighborhoods, all over the city, and kind of the phrase that I've been coining is, we have amazing communities around Lake Sawyer. We have amazing community up on Lawson Hill. We have amazing community within 10 Trails. But the reality of the situation is we're not interacting enough with each other, and we simply just don't know enough about each other yet.
Interesting point. Second question, and I think we'll start with Mr. Bowie. The City Council recently approved moving forward to negotiate a pre-annexation agreement with Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority. What is your understanding of the fire service agreement for annexation and staffing of both fire stations?
Well, that's a great question. I'm not 100% familiar with Puget Sound Regional Fire's organizational structure. I have been told that to have that happen, we would have to annex into Maple Valley, King County Fire District 43, and they contract with Puget Sound. But if we really contract with Puget Sound, I understand that. That annexation is unlike a marriage, so that's like a forever thing. I think we need to make sure the annexation is what we want to do, because we can't undo it. It looks like the dollars and cents of those two entities for residential folks are divided a little differently. For the Mountain View Fire folks, they use $1.50 a thousand assessed evaluation, where the Puget Sound uses an assessment of $1 plus a benefit charge based on the structure, the need, and it looks like the handout that the city had, you could have an extra 47 cents, 48 cents, so maybe a little less than $1.50. Huge change for businesses. So if we're talking fire service, if you use the $1.50, it's gonna cost everybody more money. Right now, the city's paying $1.3 million, I believe, for fire protection with Mountain View. If we divide the assessed evaluation by the dollars we're paying, I believe that's about 51 cents. I think if we're gonna annex into a
you.
fire district and give those new things, it's a complex question, hang on.
No, you got 90 seconds. We'll have to
Okay.
come back. You'll get a follow-up.
Is there a follow-up?
There is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good.
While you're on a roll, though, why don't you do the follow-up part? I think we should change, maybe while it's fresh in your mind. So the follow-up question is, have you been involved in any city land use or development appeals? And if so, what were the circumstances and what was your reasoning?
Yes, I appealed a fire station siting up on Lawson Hill. I didn't disagree with the need. I think I didn't like that we were having to spend $510,000 for a piece of property when the city had property. After I did public disclosure requests to find out how did we select the site, I was told that staff told the fire chief, you can't use this site because it's a mine hazard site. You don't want to use this site because there's bad dirt there and you're going to spend a lot of money.
Thank you.
And there were just problems with that site. So yes, I appealed that
Thank you.
fire station site.
Well, thank you for that complete answer. So, Mr. Adler, the City Council recently approved moving forward to negotiate a pre-annexation agreement with Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority. What's your understanding of that fire service agreement for annexation and staffing for both of the fire stations?
Yeah, I have a very good understanding of it. In fact, I still have the presentation right here in my folder from when Puget Sound made that. So my understanding of how the situation will play out is ultimately it is going to be the will of the people. You know, the city and the fire authority will go through, get their pre-annexation agreement, at which point it would be put on a ballot as a ballot measure, and then it's going to be up to the people, the residents of the city, whether or not they're going to approve or reject that. And so for me, at that point in time, again, going back to servant leadership, I don't know that, who am I to go against what the will of the people are going to do? And if we're going to approve it, amazing, great, and we'll figure it out. Are taxes going to go up? Yeah, there will be, you know, a tax increase, but at least it will go directly to our fire services instead of going to the city itself and then reallocated through the contract. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, it sounds complete to me. The follow-up question, though, is, have you been involved in any city land use or development appeals? And if so, what were the circumstances and what was your reasoning?
Not that I'm aware of, unless somebody in this room is a process server that has an envelope for me. No.
All right, well, we're halfway through, Mayor candidate, so hang in there. The third question, Mr. Bowie, is Black Diamond's economic future depends heavily on a vibrant small business sector, from local storefronts to service providers. With ongoing pressures like rising minimum wages, increased taxes, and complex state regulations, what specific idea do you have to help Black Diamond attract small businesses?
Great question. I think that's difficult for all the businesses, including a small business, given all the pressures they face. Years ago, there was a thought in town that the city needed to create either an economic development zone or have a a building, a facility, don't know how it would get created, an incubator building, and it would have less than market rate rent. So people could evolve from maybe a home business, home office, into an incubator building and have their building there, or their business there, and wouldn't have to bear all the huge costs of being in a new strip mall and all the costs that, or a new building and all the things that come with that. That's never happened, and I don't know why. There are several parcels in town that would be ideal, but I think we might need some partnership with the state to see if we can make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Adler, same question. Black Diamond's economic future depends heavily on a vibrant small business sector. How would you help that along?
I think that the city, in my understanding, has maybe not been the easiest to work with. And I'm not trying to speak ill of anyone or anything like that, but I have talked to a number of small business owners that say sometimes the permitting process and things like that are a little bit cumbersome. Maybe that, again, we're just not necessarily the easiest to work with. So I think we need to get that figured out first. Not that we want to open up the floodgates and put a strip mall on every single street corner, but I had an individual share a story with me that they tried to register their business within the city of Black Diamond and got a stack of paperwork this thick. They still had their Issaquah address. They went online, were able to file their business with Issaquah within 7 clicks of a mouse, and they now pay their taxes to the city of Issaquah rather than the city of Black Diamond. We've got to get that figured out.
Understandable. I think with the next question, we'll stick with you, Mr. Adler. Many are frustrated with the city management of the master plan. Please identify any areas of concern for you with respect to the execution of the MPD.
Yeah, where to start? First, I want to say that I appreciate Chad and Victoria for both acknowledging that the state actually plays a role in this. I think, a lot of people have said that I'm just going to rubber stamp everything that Oak Point says. It's not true. For me, I think Oak Point becomes the easy scapegoat, though. I'm just not of the position where I'm not going to give them any credit for anything that they have done. Have they done everything perfectly? No, absolutely not. And I think one thing that's really important to remember, did we get the master plan development agreement right the first time? Probably not. Are there errors in it? I believe so, absolutely. But it's a signed contract, and we cannot buck the system and go against it, or we will end up like Clay Elum. Period. End of discussion. I get it, it's not right, but that's the cards that we're dealt, and we just have to play the best hand we can with those cards.
Understood. Mr. Valley, many are frustrated with the city management of the master plan. Please identify any areas of concern for you with respect to the execution of the MPD.
Thank you. Good question. So the master plan development, really the villages, 10 trails, Lawson Hills yet to come. As Dan said, Mr. Del Sano, there's targets that are based on eaches or units. And probably the biggest frustration is those targets have been missed. Things get pushed back. The roundabout was late in starting. The roundabout was late in getting finished. There was supposed to be a pipeline road through the gravel pit to take pressure off Roberts Drive, and the Lake Sawyer Road and 288. That keeps getting kicked down the road. There were thresholds for the right-of-way to be acquired and then the road to be built. That's not happened. The 216th and 288th intersection got started. Shouldn't have gotten started. There was another jurisdiction involved, so it's supposedly going to get started again. We need to do a better job of
Thank you.
getting things done.
Well, good points. So, Mr. Adler, the last question of this format is, the developer reached the 800 unit threshold that in the development agreement triggered the construction of sports fields. Yet residents still see no clear timeline and/or a proposal that has been made to pay a fee in lieu instead of building. As mayor, how would you ensure that either the promised facilities are built or that any substitution is equivalent, transparent, and accountable to the residents of Black Diamond?
Well, I think the big question becomes where we want those fields built. I talked about this at the meet and greet at Sahara Pizza. If we're happy with the location as defined within the development agreement and we want to get them built, guess what we have to do? Nothing. Oak Point is under a contract to build them, and they will build them. Real quick, no, I'm not gonna have time, so I'm not even gonna get into that. Yeah, the question to me is gonna be, where do we want them? And that's the question that we have to continue to answer. Do I have more time? I thought
You have
were
a
holding-
minute this time.
Perfect. So, I have a public school education. I'm a very simple man. Real quickly, there is a thing called the Paducah Agreement, that when we annexed the Lake Sawyer Regional Park, we were under an obligation within the county to develop that at some point in time and to build fields there. We have an obligation to the county in order to have some form of active recreation. We have a developer with an agreement with us to build sports fields. I can make a connection there to where we need to kill two birds with one stone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bowie, your turn. The developer reached the 800 unit threshold that in the development agreement triggered the construction of sports fields. Yet residents still see no clear timeline and a proposal that has been made to pay a fee instead of building is among us. As mayor, how will you ensure that either the promised facilities are built or that any substitution is equivalent, transparent, and accountable to the residents of Black Diamond?
Thank you. So the development agreement had thresholds, 800 units, and it got past that. I believe the 800 units was at a time where the developer could do a fee in lieu of or build it, and it got past it. I think they're probably at 1,300 units now. Can't tell you how it got past there. It appears that there is a fix in the works now with the Enumclaw School District and creating a joint facility at a new 10 Trails Elementary School, and Oak Point is gonna contribute, seeing $3 million to that, a joint use facility, and the school district and the city of Enumclaw will joint share the maintenance cost with that. I don't know where that agreement is. Someone forwarded me the Enumclaw School District agreement. Am I out at 60 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. So we just need to hold the targets and stop issuing building permits. That'll bring everything to the table.
Thank you.
Well, thoughtful answers for sure. That is the end of our scheduled questions. However, we do have, and we did provide an opportunity for people to submit questions online. And you did have an opportunity, if you had a question, to write a card at the information desk. So, Alyssa, if you have those cards, we could certainly use them now and ask a few more questions.
And these questions will have 90 seconds to answer.
That clock's still fast.
I'm sorry. I'll try to slow it down.
Just slow down time. No
Just
big
slow
deal.
down
Maybe I'm
time.
long-winded, you okay?
Well, here is a question for all of our city candidates. And this is a concern of someone who submitted this question via email. So to all of our city people, do you support or oppose the battery energy storage systems being discussed for Black Diamond? Well, can we start with you, Ms. Mulvihill?
Be happy to answer that. I'm opposed. I don't think the Black Diamond is the right area for such a facility. Sure, there have been advancements in handling the type of fires that these facilities can produce, but I still like to keep our water clean and our air clean and a safe place for our residents to live, so I just do not see Bess fitting here.
Short answer, Mr. Valley.
Short answer, 90 seconds?
I think it's a 30-second
Just
question.
a 30, oh, we're going, okay.
30?
Quick.
All right. See, it's not me, I'm just hitting the buttons over here. 30 seconds.
To answer the question, no, I don't support a battery storage facility.
Microphone up.
No, I don't.
It's still off.
Love the money. Has to have a
30
green
seconds
light.
up.
Green light.
No green light? Here we go. Oh,
We did. There you go.
Same answer.
No, okay, that was blue.
Hello. Thank you. This is Better Mike. No, I don't support a battery storage facility. I think we probably need to step back and let that technology evolve. There's horrendous problems with that. We don't need to deal with a fire. We don't need to deal with the contamination. I don't know if you folks know with our new vehicles that are electric, even such a thing as a wrecking yard, when a car gets wrecked, the tow trucks can't take the car to the yard because the cars can catch on fire.
thank you.
All right, Mr. Del Santos.
I don't know what the button is.
30.
It's just on.
Oh, no, I do not. Listen to the public and the fire department, they are against it, and I am too.
Terrific. Mr. Sorcy.
I'm absolutely against it. It is on, right? Yeah, Black Diamond is no place to do battery storage. You know, I'm not sure anywhere in South King County, state of Washington, maybe Hanford, where you could actually store this. And maybe they should put those battery facilities at Hanford or something, a long ways from communities like Black Diamond.
Mr. Adler.
Appreciate you mentioning Hanford. I actually moved here from the Tri-Cities, so. Yeah, to me, message received loud and clear. I've attended a number of, city council meetings regarding this, and the residents of the city have made it pretty well known that they don't want these facilities. So again, who am I to speak out against it? The only thing that I will say is going back to the economical question, I just want to make sure we don't create a subculture of turning away too many businesses, because I don't know if beggars can be choosers at a certain point in time.
Understood. So this was a question specifically asked by a member of the community for Mr. Bowie.
Tell me what our timeline is, if you don't mind, for each question, so I can stay on top of my.
Let's say 60 seconds.
60 seconds? Okay, thank you.
So here was the question. There are rumors that you may be planning to let go some of the senior staff. Would this include the current city administrator? And if so, is it your plan to hire Brian Derdowski to be the next city administrator?
No, hell no.
Yeah, okay, so that's gotta be about the biggest rumor. Yeah, no, so, my signs say Reform City Hall. I've never said staff need to be fired. I spoke with one of the Public Works Department field workers a month ago, and he said he walked into City Hall and everybody in City Hall is abuzz because Jeff's gonna fire everybody. And he said, well, are you doing your job? Are you doing what you're supposed to? Are you doing anything wrong? Are you doing anything illegal? If the answer is no to all of those, what the heck are you worried about? So, yeah, no. I think Kevin is gonna do a great job. Unfortunately, we had a good city administrator that was pressured by the development community to fire her, and the city had to pay a huge sum of money for termination without cause. Kevin has that clause in his contract. We don't need to pay
Thank you.
$750,000
Thank you.
to have him leave.
I don't know how to turn this off, just.
That question was just for you, Mr. Bowie. So we're gonna take a little bit of the heat off of our city people for just a few minutes. And this question is both for our two Senate candidates. So the question
much
is, will you support additional taxes next legislative session to cover shortfalls, or will you vote to cut wasteful spending?
One moment. Minute? Sure. Okay, thank you.
It's up to you.
Are we going first?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Malgandash, you first.
All right, so $9.4 billion in new taxes last session. And that's just for the operating budget. $3.2 billion for the transportation budget, another $2 billion that was authorized for cities and municipalities to raise in sales tax, just so we can fund our law enforcement folks. It was a record increase in taxes. The Senate Republicans actually pitched a no new taxes budget, never even got a hearing. And so, no, I don't support that. They left Olympia with a $79 billion budget. You know how much you had in reserves? $80 million. So now they come back and they're surprised that they ran out of money, and they've got another billion that's going to be due in the next short session, which is not supposed to be our budgeting session. So no, I think we go back to the no new taxes budget, and we figure out where we can cut to make sure we're living within our means, just like we've been asked to do in our own homes.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. Would you like me to repeat the question?
I think I've got it. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect, thank you.
We went into this last budgeting session with many really tough decisions. We did make cuts, and we had to come out with a balanced budget. And the all cuts budget that was proposed would have been devastating, especially when we consider the cuts to our funding and what is happening at the federal level. We know that these cuts would result in people losing their health care and getting sicker. We expect that what is happening at the federal level will result in the closure of 14 rural hospitals across our state. That means that people will not have access to care. They will have to go into the ER, and we need to make sure that we're protecting people and that we are providing those critical services. We need to make sure that we are protecting our school funding as well. That is the paramount duty of the state. So we need to absolutely make sure that we are investing in these really critical services that our community depends on. Thank you.
Thank you. This next question is for Mr. Sorcy. And remember, these were submitted by the public, so we want you to please explain why it is not a conflict of interest to be on the council and at the same time receive rent payments by the council for the rent on City Hall.
That's actually an easy question. Because the city has a lease, they can terminate it tomorrow. I don't know where they'll move, but they can terminate it tomorrow. So it's not a conflict. It may be a conflict if they come back and ask to extend the lease for another X period of time, whereupon I would recuse myself and let the other council members decide if they want to extend the lease or not. So it's not my choice. They have a current lease. The city is in control of what they do with their own destiny.
All right, well, thank you for your answer. So this is for Mr. Adler and Mr. Bowie. Says here, Lake residents are mostly united in our concern about building a park that includes ball fields at the south end of Lake Sawyer. There are many environmental concerns that need to be addressed. Where do you stand on Black Diamond Park development plans? And how will you balance the love of the natural park spaces with the need for more sports activities in our community?
Do you want us to arm wrestle or who goes first?
You appear ready, Mr. Adler. Why don't you go ahead?
How long?
How long?
60 seconds.
Okay, so I guess we gotta circle back to one of the things that I was talking about earlier. Yes, absolutely there are environmental concerns. I I don't think that we want to go build all of our sports fields or anything like that right on the edge of the lake. Obviously, there's environmental impacts and stuff like that that need to be studied. So again, I want to clarify earlier my point. We have an obligation to the county to build ball fields of some kind at some point in time. The language is extremely ambiguous, but at a certain point in time, the county is going to show up with their margin call, and they're going to say, hey, you've got to develop this park like you agreed in the Baduga agreement at this point in time. So it's a hard opportunity for us to look away from, knowing that we could fulfill our obligations with the county at the expense of the developer. I don't know that we can afford not to.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your answer. And this question is submitted for all of our panelists here. And it's,
Wait.
oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Bowie
Oh,
can answer that.
I'm so, thank you for catching that. Mr. Bowie, how would you answer that?
Question was?
The question was regarding the park. Just 1 second,
The
please.
park on Lake Sawyer.
Yeah, how would you balance the development of that with addressing the environmental concerns? And how would you bring those two factions together?
Lake Sawyer is a treasure that we can't neglect. I would always support a passive use of a park there. The state's poised to spend $58.4 million on 5 fish passages on Highway 169, and fish can't even get here. We've got Ginder Creek, we've got Rock Creek. Black Diamond, we need to really watch what we do out at Lake Sawyer and the Lake Sawyer Park. We need to watch water quality, and we need to not make it worse. It's got enough problems. We gotta figure out there's short water, and we gotta figure out a smell out on the Lake Sawyer Road. Do I still have more time? As far as King County, I understand, I read the deed, I see the words, not real clear. King County, come talk to us. Executive, come talk to us. Reagan Dunn, come talk to us. I'll give you my phone number. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our 2 mayoral candidates again. Residents have noticed a terrible sewer odor on 228 between Palmer Coke and Colgate, north to 297th Street. What do you know about it, and what would be your plan to fix it?
How long?
60 seconds.
To whom?
To the mayor candidates.
You wanna wrestle?
Why don't you go first? We'll go up. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yes. Mr. Bowie.
So, there's a smell. I would liken it to a stench, maybe the aroma of Tacoma. We didn't used to have it. We have it now. I think Black Diamond's probably responsible. At first, I thought it was maybe 100,000 dead fish on Lake Marjorie or Lake Sawyer or at Covington Creek. I really don't think it is. I believe it's our city's sewer system. I believe it's our city tight line that doesn't have any direct connections to it, that doesn't have any vents out of it. I think the gas-tight ring and lids on the sewer manholes aren't quite as gas-tight as anyone would think. It sounds like that Metro hasn't been using the flush tank that sends extra water down our tight line to flush it out. There's also a pigging device that launches a pig, a sponge, down to pipe to clean it. So we need to get King County Metro.
Thank
We need to get
you.
Puget Sound Air Pollution Control out here,
Thank
and
you.
a industrial hygienist to figure out why the smell. I'm
Don't make
sorry.
me-
You
I
can't have it.
understand. I know, but we have, I'm just here for the
Well,
time.
I'll make a deal with you. I will donate some of my time to Jeff because I'm gonna be 100% honest with everyone. This is the first that I'm actually hearing of this issue.
Okay.
And so I don't know that I have a ton of response on it. Obviously, we need to identify what the source of said smell is before we can figure out how to attack it. I don't know much about flush valves or pigs or anything like that. But, yeah, let's figure out where it's coming from first, and then we'll make an action plan going from there. Seems reasonable?
You have 40 seconds left if you would like 40 seconds.
I want to hear more about these pigs that are going down.
So we've got a pig launch station, and then we fish the pig back out of the pipe. It's called a pig, it's a foam gizmo. So I think we need to get folks involved. And I think it's probably what the city's done in the past. And I'm not gonna point any fingers, but I think it's probably the 10 Trails workaround with their sewer lift station, because our sewer system was designed for a sewer service capacity of 2,500 population, and we've got that. So I think the lift station that has a tank that stores the sludge isn't a normal liquidy kind of juice flow. I apologize. So we need to get people involved. And I think it's probably our Public Works Director, and I don't know if we get our top secret Public Works Director.
Okay,
No one knew we
we're
had
done.
involved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time and you still run out.
Makes me sweat over here. I can.
You asked. We're paid by the word on this, right?
Yes.
The state could also send us some money. But I know they just spent $15 million
Okay,
to
we have
replace
to
the
wait
bridge
for the
that fell down
question.
today
We
in
have to-
eastern Washington.
We have to wait for the question.
All right, well, now we have a question.
Now we have a question that we'd like everybody to chime in on, because this is a big one, and it's really posing some problems for us here. So, Lake Sawyer is suffering with extremely low water levels. For the past 2 months of summer, the lake and boat lake access is unusable for many lake residents and our neighbors who enjoy the lake. This is affecting home sales and declining values, not only having a negative effect on wildlife and fish dying. What is your plan of action to help us out with this issue? It's a regional jewel, Lake Sawyer, and we need some help.
How much?
60 seconds apiece.
60 seconds.
Can we start with you, Mr. Magendas?
Wow, you've got me a little off guard on this one, because I don't even know what the feeder pattern is going into Lake Sawyer, so I don't know if there's a state property, if is it coming from Howard A. Henson or something like that. Clearly, we can control the flow from the reservoir to provide more flow in, but I'm not even sure that Howard A. Henson flows into Lake Sawyer. Does it?
No.
No, okay, so I'd have to do a little bit of research on this one, honestly, and get back to you and see if there are state properties that could increase flow and whether that can be balanced with our responsibilities for reservoirs and other things.
This would be a great opportunity if we could send this right up the flagpole to the state level, because it's really devastating lots of people. Ms. Mulvihill, what do you think about this?
Jump on.
Yeah, I was talking to a resident a couple weeks ago. We had an event at her house, and I was explaining how low the lake was. And she said, well, unless you can do us a rain dance, I don't know how we can get the water levels up. And since it isn't supplied by the Howard Hanson, it is Rock Creek and Ginger Creek. It's just the local tributaries. And with our drought, I don't know how we'd solve that problem.
Mr. Bowie, what do you know about the problem, and what do you think the solution might be?
Well, I think it's a big problem that is easily solved. A hydrologist needs to get involved, and we need to have a group of folks that are all involved that include Department of Health, Department of Ecology, the City of Black Diamond, King County, Department of Natural Resources, Covington Water District, and the homeowners of the lake. I'm hearing people had to take their boats out at June. If you look at the King County Assessor's Office records for houses out there, they don't list any nuisances